The California Commission on Disability Access, Education and Outreach Committee meeting is now called to order. It is Wednesday, April 9th, 2025. Presley, can you please begin with housekeeping?
Yes, thank you, Chair Commissioner Dr. Propasa. This is Presley, CCDA staff. This Education and Outreach Committee meeting will be on Zoom via teleconference and held at the California Commission on Disability Access, CCDA headquarters, located at 400 R Street, Suite 312 in Sacramento, California, 95811. Virtual attendees are in compliance with the Bagley-Keene Open Meeting Act. Please remember to specify the following. If a state body member attends a meeting via teleconference from a remote location, they must disclose any other individuals 18 years or older present in the room, as well as their relationship with them. The visual appearance of a member of the state body on camera may cease only when the appearance would be technologically impracticable. Public comment on matters not on the agenda is taken at the beginning of the meeting. Public comment on matters on the agenda will be heard as the Commission takes up agenda items for discussion. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Speakers who utilize translators to make public comment will be allotted no more than 6 minutes unless they utilize simultaneous translation equipment. CCDA is precluded from discussing items not on the agenda. However, CCDA members may ask questions for clarification purposes. This meeting is being captioned and recorded. To assist in this effort, please state your first and last name each time you speak and speak loud and clear. The Stream Text Live captioning link has been included in the chat for your use, and staff can provide the link when asked. Public participants can use the raise hand function to alert the committee of when they would like to speak, and we will also give an opportunity for public members who have not come sorry about that, public participants. To assist in the effort, please state your first and last name each time you speak and speak loud and clear. The Stream Text Live link has been included in the chat. To use the raise hand function, please use the following. Using Zoom via web browser, first, click on the icon labeled Reactions in the toolbar on the bottom center of your screen. After clicking Reactions, a new window will show on your screen. At the bottom right of the screen, there will be a button labeled Raise Hand. Click on the 3 sideways dots labeled More. The More option is in the toolbar on the bottom right corner of the screen. After clicking More, a new window will pop up at the bottom of your screen. Press Raise Hand. Please remember to mute yourself if you are not speaking in order to reduce noise. If you are having technical issues throughout the meeting and need assistance, please use the chat function to alert CCDA staff or email ccda at dgs.ca.gov. If you are unable to utilize the chat function to alert CCDA staff, please unmute yourself and request for permission to speak. If there are technical issues that impact the proceeding of the meeting, the body will take the following procedures. 1, will communicate to all participants that technical issues have occurred and CCDA staff is working to resolve them. 2, will have alternative messaging to all participants, a mass email communication for the CCDA staff, or email ccda at dgs.ca.gov. Third, CCA staff will attempt to resolve the technical issues. If the technical issues persist and compromise the meeting's purpose, the meeting will be adjourned and may be rescheduled if necessary. With that, I will pass it back to you, Chair Commissioner Propasa.
Thank you, Presley. So we'll move on to agenda item 1, the roll call. Presley, would you please move forward with the roll call?
Yes, thank you. I will start with the roll call. Chair Commissioner Dr. Propasa.
Here.
Commissioner Leon Vasquez.
Here.
Commissioner Ramirez.
Here.
Commissioner Conway.
Conway, here.
Committee Member Hassan.
Here.
Committee Member Lerner.
Here.
Committee Member Simon. And Committee Member Davis.
Here.
Thank you. And with that, we do have quorum. I will pass it back to you, Chair Dr. Propasa.
Thank you, Presley. Presley, are there other commissioners, legislative members, or other public officials in the meeting?
Chair Commissioner Dr. Propasa, not that I see in any indication in the online chat.
Okay, thank you. Are there members of the public in the meeting who wish to identify themselves at this time?
There is no, oh, we do have Bill Zelmer. He's raising his hand.
Welcome, Mr. Zelmer.
Thank you.
So we will now move on to agenda item number 2, approval of the July 24th, 2024 meeting minutes. If everyone has had a chance to look at the Education and Outreach Committee meeting minutes, I would like to hear if there are any questions, additions, or corrections to these minutes. And we'll begin. Are there any comments from the Education and Outreach Committee members attending virtually on this agenda item?
There appears to be no indication online.
Thank you. Are there any comments from the public attending virtually on this agenda topic?
There appears to be no indication.
Are there any comments from public attending in person on this agenda item?
No, not in person.
Okay. Presley, then can I ask that we hear for a motion to approve the minutes of the July 24th, 2024 meeting? Do I hear a motion?
This is Conway. I so move.
Thank you. And a second?
This is Commissioner Ramirez. I move to second.
Thank you. Presley, if you can call for a roll call vote.
Yes, thank you. I will start the roll call vote. Commissioner Dr. Propasa,
Aye.
Commissioner Leon Vasquez,
Aye.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Aye.
Commissioner Conway,
Aye.
Committee Member Hassan,
Aye.
Committee Member Lerner,
Aye.
Committee Member Simon, Committee Member Davis.
Abstain.
Okay, I will pass it back to you. The vote will carry and the minutes will pass.
Thank you. So we'll move on to agenda item number 3, comments from the public on issues not on this agenda. Are there any comments from the public who wish to be heard?
There appears to be no indication in the chat.
Okay. Are there any comments from the public attending in person on this agenda item?
There is currently none in person right now.
Okay. Then we'll move on to agenda item number 4, Disability Access Education and Revolving Fund. And I refer to our Executive Director, April Dawson-Rawlings, for a discussion on the fund and on the quick reference guide. April?
Thank you, Chair Dr. Profazza. This is April, and I'm going to be moving my head to the side because I'm reading, but not trying to not make eye contact with my friends on Zoom here, and there's no one in person. Well, this is the part of the agenda where we talk about the Disability Access Education Revolving Fund / Accessibility Compliance Fund. For those of you who are new to this space, we have been working with the Division of the State Architect for a couple of years now in partnership to get the word out about the uses of this fund and how it can help businesses locally. And this is a fund where $4 of every business license fee is put into a fund. 10% of it goes to the Division of the State Architect. and 90% of it is maintained locally in what's called the Accessibility Compliance Fund. And the main use of the fund is for training and retention of CASPs and to make sure that the municipality is making sure that, you know, they can help with plan reviews and things like that, have the right amount of CASP. And then there was a law that was passed, not this past year, but the year before, that now allows any funding that's left over after the main use of the fund is used to where you could potentially create programs that could help your local businesses with access remediations and grants. And at our last full commission meeting, we heard from the city of San Jose, who used a portion of their leftover accessibility compliance fund dollars to create a grant program to help local businesses hire CASPs and for access remediation costs. And so I just wanted to share a little bit about how we've been partnering with the Division of the State Architect on the efforts to get the fund out. As Commissioner Dr. Prafazza mentioned, we have a one-pager, which you can find on our website. We also have a PDF that I'm happy to send out, as well as an accessible version, which is a text-only version. And we also are in the process of translating it into multiple languages. I'm excited to tell you that CCDA partnered with DSA to send a survey to which we attempted to send them to all of the municipalities in California, and we received over 100 responses. And what we asked in the survey is we asked a couple of questions. We asked, you know, what is their understanding of the fund and what is your municipality doing with that fund? And that was so that we could think about, you know, what should our outreach efforts be to those municipalities who might have questions about the appropriate use of the fund, and to just get the word out about it. And so we're planning some webinars, and we're also planning to have the education and outreach analyst meet with those municipalities in partnership with the Division of the State Architect. And we're also using it to, you know, augment some of the information that's already contained in the Division of the State Architect's report on the fund that they report to the state legislature every year. It's very similar to our annual report, but it talks about the fees that are collected and things like that. So it's just going to help us internally to figure out how to target our efforts, particularly to those municipalities who may not understand what the fund's all about or not even know why those dollars are coming in and where to put them. So we're also going to be discussing the Disability Access Education Revolving Fund, Accessibility Compliance Fund in July at a panel discussion in Bakersfield at an ADA conference. And we're also going to be going to a municipal conference in Ventura in September. And so I'm really looking forward to that. Also, at our full commission meetings, we've committed to, for at least half of the meetings of the year, I'd like to get to a place where we do a segment at each of our meetings, but at least two out of the 4 meetings, we're going to be having a commission to community segment where we will have a local municipality. Usually it'll be the municipality where we're having the meeting located at. So for example, our next commission to community segment will be in Sacramento in June, and they'll talk about how their municipality partners with businesses to increase disability access, and about how they utilize CASPs and what they're doing locally, just like we did at the last meeting a couple of days ago, where we had the city of San Jose talking with us. And I also wanted to share just quickly that I know that many of you have requested that at this meeting we have a larger discussion around how CCDA can help municipalities be educated about how to support businesses in their area. And many of you have brought up some really good ideas, such as talking about how CCDA could help with the Accessibility Compliance Fund, as well as kind of a larger discussion about, the ADA compliance notices that businesses receive when they get a business license. Because we weren't able to put it on this agenda, we will be putting a larger discussion on the next agenda. So I just wanted to put that out there, that it's related to DARF, because DARF is a component of that, but we'll be having kind of a larger conversation about that at the meeting in July. So with that, that's my report on what we're working on with DARF and Accessibility Compliance Fund, and I welcome any questions you have.
If I could begin, April, could you walk us through what the process would be for a small business owner, let's say a small coffee shop in San Jose? And if they heard through friends or whomever that there was a grant possibility for them to make their bathroom more accessible, how would you direct that person to check into that grant? Where would they go? How would they know how much money might be available to them? Could you give us an example as to how we as members of this committee would advise that person to move forward with accessing some of those funds?
Oh, thank you, Commissioner Dr. Profazza. This is April. So for example, every municipality is different. So if we were contacted by someone who asked those questions, we would do some research with that municipality and connect them usually to like their economic development department or their building department to check in to see, do they have any programs available, and we would send them that information. If we have a good relationship with that municipality, we would do like a warm handoff where we would talk with them and make sure that they could get in touch with the right person. So for example, in the city of San Jose, who came and talked about their grant program last week, or actually about 2 weeks ago now, at our full commission meeting, they have a direct contact who's like their business ally. And so we would put them in touch with their business ally. It's important to know that, every municipality is different, and some municipalities have chosen to use these funds for that purpose, and others have just focused on the main purpose of it, which is the training and retention of CASPs, and haven't set up a grant program. So what we would do as CCDA would be to try to be that link to find the right person for that inquirer. That's part of the reason why we're doing all of this municipal outreach, is to make sure that we do have those contacts and we do have a pulse on what's going on locally to help businesses, whether it's through the Accessibility Compliance Fund or other funds. So you could be assured that if someone contacts us with those questions, we would take that public inquiry seriously, and we would make sure we contact that municipality directly and find out what they might be doing to help businesses achieve access compliance.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So are there comments from other members of the Education and Outreach Committee attending virtually on this agenda topic?
And this is Commissioner Ramirez. And so thank you, Executive Director April Dallas-Dawson. First of all, we had a great session in San Jose. It really opened up our minds. And sorry. But today we were actually talking about your work in the presentation in San Jose here in LA County. There was a conversations about, wow, wouldn't it be a great idea if we had trained folks, especially people with disabilities, that could go to businesses and let them know if their businesses are ADA compliant, or maybe we could like educate architects. And I'm like, well, we have the California Commission on Disabilities that works pretty much around these issues already. And so it really seems you're literally in people's minds right now, which is a really good thing. And I think I'm not really sure in LA County like how many CAF people we have and how active they are in retention, but that's definitely something that I know that we want to help to facilitate, particularly being such a large county. And we're so glad that you're going to be in Ventura or Kern, which is our neighbors, so we can hopefully send some folks there to learn more about the resources we have, but then also as opportunities for counties to maybe further employ people with disabilities to work in this particular field. As I'm getting the training, it is just fantastic information to have, but it's also a really great opportunity for folks to interact with business sectors and entrepreneurs in the design community while doing this particular type of work. And so I'm really interested to see how LA County in particularly is utilizing its funds and really advancing that particular field. I know LA City is also looking at that, but for LA County, is there a distinction between county and city municipalities and how these funds are utilized?
Hi, Hector. This is April, or Commissioner Ramirez. This is April. So it depends on how the business license fees are collected. Each municipal, sometimes it's the city and sometimes it's the county and sometimes it's kind of like a combination. And so it's every municipality is different in how they collect the fees.
Okay, and so just as a follow-up with that, so for example, who would bear the responsibility based maybe because on license type, the number or the maintenance of CAF's staff, and so that varies also similarly based on the way the business licenses are issued, or is there some sort of like unifying factor to make sure that is being done in an equitable way so that one is not doing a better job than the other, or somebody is doing something that could be better improved? Because cities are parts of counties, but then cities in themselves retain a level of autonomy. So that's the only kind of discretion. I wonder if it's significant, um, or the quality is different going from city to county businesses.
I'm trying to, so what
Yeah.
I'm hearing, sorry. Go
Sorry.
ahead.
We have cities and counties as municipalities. I just wonder if they utilize them differently, or are they all? And I've heard you say that some of them do it differently. Some of them really access their funds for the businesses, and otherwise use this to maintain and upkeep their CAF stuff. But I was wondering if there's any type of uh, similar type of parameters that both of them do to make sure that the need of the community and the business communities are equally balanced.
I understand what you're saying. So I'll clarify my comments. I was mostly talking about how the fund that we're talking about, the main purpose of it is for training and retention of CASPs. And when we looked at our survey results, we were seeing that the survey was coming through that the municipalities that responded were doing that. Most of them were utilizing it for that main purpose. It used to be that you could only use the fund just for that purpose. And that's still the overarching reason for the fund's existence. But there was a law that was passed 2 years ago that now municipalities can choose to any leftover funds after they do the main purpose of the fund, which is the training and the retention of the CASPs, they could set up accessibility programs like the one in the city of San Jose we heard about. So I'm hearing you ask, like, how do you kind of measure that? I mean, I'm not sure that I will give you the best answer other than I'm, that we're seeing that the municipalities can choose to utilize those funds, those leftover funds, but they aren't required to. But a lot of the ones that aren't doing the grants, they're still doing great work with creativity. Like, I think there's one municipality that has like a Ask a CASP, and they redesigned their website. And so there's a lot of, it's hard to measure, I wouldn't want to say who's better or worse because everybody's doing the best they can. But and then we always tell municipalities to talk with their city attorneys when they're thinking about how to utilize, the funds properly. So.
Oh, thank you. That really helps, because you said 100 municipalities responded for California, and there's like 400 and something, right? Municipalities, 458, I think. Municipalities in total.
For our that's for our survey, and so we will be sending we'll be sending follow-ups for that survey, but we did get 100 responses for this initial survey.
Oh, great. Thank you very much. I appreciate that clarification.
Thank
I
you.
really want to see how LA County can not only improve the CAF retention and education, but also that expansion, for that creativity after they've met their obligations.
Thank you, Commissioner Ramirez. Other commissioners who would like to speak on this topic?
Committee Member Davis has her hand raised.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to respond to Commissioner Ramirez. The CASP database shows that there are 251 CASPs that will currently do inspections in Los Angeles County.
This is Commissioner Profazza. How many are there throughout the state of California?
Oh, thank you. I don't remember the exact number. It was either 917 or 971.
Mhm. Thank you. Good number.
Yes, we're very pleased.
Other commissioners wishing to respond to this topic? Questions, comments?
There is no other indication in the chat right now.
Thank you. Are there any comments from the public attending virtually on this topic?
There is no indication in the chat, virtually or in person.
Thank you, Presley. Since there are no further comments, moving on to agenda item 5, the California Commission on Disability Access Strategic Plan. And I'll pass this on to our Executive Director, April Dawson Rawlings.
Thank you, Chair Commissioner Dr. Profazza. This is April. I just wanted to share an update on where we're at with our strategic planning process. CCDA's 5-year strategic plan expired on December 31st, 2024. And so in 2024, in about early to mid 2024, the executive committee met and directed me to put out a scope of work for a consultant who would guide us through a year-long strategic planning development that would lead to a new 3 to 5 year strategic planning document, and then the potential to work with either that firm or another firm again to guide us through how to actually implement that. And so it was very important to the executive committee and then to the full commission when I talked about it at the early 2024 full commission meeting, that there would be a lot of stakeholder engagement, that we involve our subcommittees such as the Education and Outreach Committee, and that the consultant that we choose has a grounding in working with a variety of different types of stakeholders and government groups and people with disabilities in particular, and as well as businesses. And so about 15 months ago, we started the process to solicit for the consultant. And because we're nested administratively within DGS's contracting unit worked on that. The process, I think it took a little bit longer than I think we all imagined, but we were able to do some scaffolding in the meantime while we were waiting for the consultant. And so where we're at with the consultant is I received word a couple of days ago that we have an apparent winner for the bid. I can't say who they are publicly, and I'm currently working with the contracting consultant to review those references that came back for the apparent winner. And so we are close to having a consultant. And so the goal would be that consultant is going to come to our subcommittee meetings and our full commission meetings. And sometimes they'll be doing some listening and sometimes they'll be doing some facilitating. And they also would be contracted to do between 1 and 2 stakeholder forums. We also put together what we sort of called a design team, and it is comprised of a group of longtime stakeholders for CCDA, and they're kind of like the strategic planning kind of group, not the only group that helps develop it, but sort of like our thought partners to help kind of guide us, sort of like our advisors, in addition to the executive committee. And we met with our design team last month and we conducted a SWOT analysis. For those of you who are kind of in the administrative speak, it's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And we did that because since the consultant was taking a little bit longer to establish than we originally thought, we thought we'd have them onboarded by January. We decided to not waste time and meet with the design team and get some initial thoughts about how CCDA is coming along and where we're at, how we're living our mission, and where we want to go. And so we will be giving that feedback to the consultant as a way to help them hit the ground running. But you should expect to see the consultant, the first meeting that they will be coming to will be our legislative committee meeting. And then they'll be at the next education and outreach committee meeting. And I suspect that they'll be spending a little, the majority of that meeting, in addition to the other agenda items I mentioned earlier that will be added to talk about, to pick the brain of the Education and Outreach Committee about how we're doing, how we're living our mission as in regards to outreach, and who is not at the table, who should be at the table, how do we increase our outreach strategies, what's working and what's not working. And so we're on track to be doing that, and I look forward to finally being able to announce publicly who our consultant is. But of course, it's not just about the consultant. I mean, it's important to have a consultant because it takes everybody out of their, it's not April's plan, it's not Commissioner Ramirez's plan or Michelle's plan, or it's CCDA's plan, and it allows you to kind of step back and have a trained facilitator help you. But the goal is to have the strategic plan, be a guiding document that doesn't just sit on a shelf and collect dust, but helps us live our mission every day. And the consultant can help us decide how we're going to implement that together. So it's something that's a shared responsibility and a shared process. And I'm looking forward to embarking on that with all of you. So that's where we are with our strategic plan. And I look forward to any comments or questions about the process.
Thank you, April. This is Commissioner Prafazza. I ask if there are any comments from the Education and Outreach Committee on this topic.
This is Commissioner Ramirez. I almost feel like we're getting ready to have, like, instead of a gender reveal party, there's going to be like a consultant reveal party. So, but I thank you really much. I appreciate that process and the intentionality in it. From an equity point of view, I really appreciate just how diligent and attentive you and your team and the rest of the commissioners have been in this particular process. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments, questions from the commissioners or committee members?
This is committee member Hassan. Director Dawson, in terms of timeline, so I think you said the last 5-year plan expired at the end of 2024. So is the idea to spend this whole calendar year doing the strategic plan, and then it would cover 2026 till 2031, like that 5-year period?
Hi, committee member Hassan. This is April. Yes. And I say 3 to 5 years because when I met with the executive committee, they weren't sure if they wanted to keep it at 5 years or maybe do a 3-year and then kind of reassess. But our last one was 5 years. So that's why I mentioned that our hope had been that we started in January and do all of 2025 and have it be an effective January 1 of 2026. But as soon as the contract is signed, the consultant will be with us for 12 months, and so we'll adjust it. The dates might look a little bit wonky, but we'll work with the executive committee to kind of figure out when things officially start. And I think it'd be nice to, when we wrote the scope of work, we wrote that we were hoping that the strategic plan document could be presented to the commission in pretty good shape at the October meeting, which is the last meeting of 2025, and then to be able to be voted on at the beginning of 2026. And so, given if the consultant is on board by next week, it'll be nice to have some overlap between when the written document is done to when, working with that person to kind of implement it over the next couple months in 2026 also. So looking forward to that. Thank you for asking that.
Commissioner Profazza, any other questions or comments from our committee members or commissioners on this topic?
There appears to be no other indication in the chat.
Okay. And any comments from the public?
There appears to be no indication virtually or in person.
Great. Thank you, Presley. So moving on to agenda item number 6, the webinars that the commission is doing in association with the ADA Center. So April, take it away if you would, please.
Thank you, Chair Dr. Profazza. This is April. I wanted to share about our latest Lunch and Learn that we're having in collaboration with the Pacific ADA Center. And it will be on Tuesday, April 22nd from 12 to 1. For accessibility purposes, I'm going to do an image description of the flyer on the screen. On the top left is CCDA's logo. It says CCDA, California Commission on Disability Access, and it's sort of like a multicolored dais that's yellow and blue. And it says the Business Owners and Operators Guide to Accessible Parking, and there's a picture of I think it's 5 accessible parking stalls with some access aisles in between and some brush overlooking a grassy field. I'm going to say to a really awesome business in a grassy field. And then at the bottom left it says Pacific ADA Center, and it's their logo, and it's kind of like, it says Pacific ADA Center, and it's like waves because they like to make waves. That's their tagline. And then there's a register here button that you would see if you got the email, or you would be able to read with a screen reader if you got the email about it. And so we're excited to bring this Lunch and Learn series. Obviously, we can't cover everything we need to know about accessible parking in an hour, but what we're hoping to do is just share what these guides are and touch on a couple of the heavy hitting number one things that people ask about that's contained within the accessible parking guides. We also will have a representative from the Division of the State Architect who will be on hand to help answer as many technical questions as we can get to. Really, the purpose of this webinar is to make sure that people understand how to use the guide, what's in there, why it's important, and to know the resources for if they have questions about how to utilize it or what's in the guide, and also to bring any technical questions that they may have. And if we're not able to cover them all within an hour, at least they will know how to get the information that they need. And so we just want to keep putting the word out about these guides and how they're here to help, given the fact that accessible parking is such a big issue that continues to trend on our top 10 list of the top lawsuits in California that we collect, as well as just, it's one of the top things that we get asked about with public inquiries, and that businesses, especially as businesses try to be creative and think of different ways to use areas like parking lots for events and dining and things like that, how to make sure that you're still complying with the law and doing those things. And we're happy to be a resource to our stakeholders with that webinar. The second webinar will be in October. That hasn't been scheduled yet, but we've decided since October is Preparedness Month, we have been getting a lot of, one of the things that has inspired us is that the commission has been trying over the last couple of years that I've been here to find a way to talk about preparedness in a way that connects to our purview. Obviously, we're not a catch-all commission. We're focused on business accessibility. However, the Los Angeles fires and other disasters have shown us that businesses are frequently asked to transform themselves during those times as hubs for the community, whether it be, giving out meals or being a donation center. And so we would really like to have a webinar where we talk about how some basics for, business access compliance, related to disaster preparedness and how businesses can also build their resilience to continue to serve all members of their community, including people with disabilities, when those disasters happen and they have to change their operations. So we're still building that panel, but I'm really looking forward to it. And we will let you know when that is scheduled, but it will be in October. But I hope everyone will join us on Tuesday, April 22nd from 12 to 1 for our first Lunch and Learn with the Pacific ADA Center on our accessible parking guides. We already have 71 people registered, so it's going to be a great event. So very successful. So with that, I will turn it back to Chair Commissioner Dr. Prafazza.
Great. This is Commissioner Prafazza. And to hear that 71 are already registered, great job on outreach to our community. Real compliments to our team. Thank you, April, and your team.
Thank you.
So are there any comments or input from members of the commission, our commissioners or our committee members on this topic?
This is just Commissioner Ramirez. That's also really, really fantastic to hear the attendance. I've seen your presence and distribution information on Facebook really grow too. And so I really want to commend you in getting this information out there, and particularly this partner, really well trusted, very well known. And so definitely looking forward to this.
Thank you, Commissioner Ramirez. Other comments from our commissioners or committee members? Questions?
Commissioner Dr. Prafazza, I see in the chat, Commissioner Leon Vasquez asked, will it be recorded? Yes, it will be recorded, and we always put it up on our YouTube channel.
April, on our YouTube channel, does it also end up on our website?
Yes.
Great. Excellent. Any comments from the public, either virtually or in person?
There appears to be no indication.
Okay, thank you. So moving on to agenda item number 7 and our listening forums. And our director, executive director, Dawson Rawlings, please move forward on the new social media outlets for our commission.
My apologies, are we at the listening forums or the social media? I think agenda item 7, I just got it.
I have listening forums for a discussion on the new social media outlets for the CCDA. Are they different?
Yes, they're different. I
Okay.
apologize.
No worries.
So we will talk about, I'm happy to talk to you about CCDA listening forums, and then we can talk about social media outreach in a moment.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. So we had on our March 26th full commission meeting. This is April, by the way, for the interpreter. At our March 26th full commission meeting, we partnered with the Center for Independence for People with Disabilities, which is the local Center for Independent Living for San Mateo County, as well as the Chamber of Commerce there, which was, and I want to make sure I get the name correct, was the San Mateo Area Chamber of Commerce, as well as the Division of the State Architect. And we had a panel discussion where we discussed, what are the challenges and opportunities for businesses in San Mateo County to comply with disability access laws and regulations. And we heard some consumer perspectives, some perspectives of people with disabilities that were on the panel, as well as from Erica Wood, who is the CEO of the San Mateo Area Chamber of Commerce, talking about the business perspective. It was a very balanced conversation, which led to, I think, a lot of fruit. We are really looking forward as the commission to working with the San Mateo Area Chamber of Commerce and the Center for Independence for People with Disabilities again. And for everyone that attended, shared that it was a balanced and great discussion, and it can build on our efforts to kind of inform us about, how we can make sure that as a commission, we're reaching out to all of our stakeholders and making sure that we're fulfilling our mission. And so, and it was a good way, you know, the purpose of these forums is to make sure that we bring together localities and members of the community, of each community that tend to trend on our high frequency litigant top 10 list, as a way for them to get together and come up with solutions that make sense for that municipality, and for us as a state body to help facilitate that and to empower them locally. So I'm looking forward to continuing that conversation with San Mateo County. Our next listening forum will be in Sacramento. The date is tentatively August 31st, but we'll be sending out more details. It will be similar format to the forums that we've had in the past, where we'll have a disability representative as well as a business representative and some voices of customers. And we also will be doing a commission to community segment with some local partners at our full commission meeting as in June as well. So looking forward to coming to Sacramento because I think sometimes people forget that Sacramento is a region. It's not just the state capital, but there's actually like the Sacramento, it's like the farm to fork capital, and there's actually businesses there and humans there, like myself and my dog and my husband. So there's people who actually live there. So it's great to actually talk with do the regional forum. And then we'll be working with some of our other trade organization partners to have a more of a statewide forum in the future that's more of a broader forum as well. We've also, received feedback that for future forums that we should focus more on industry specific topics, really look at our data. So for example, if we see, gas stations or retail stores who are trending on our top 10 list, rather than having our forums be general, perhaps we should, drill down and have some forums that are specific to specific industries and specific stakeholder groups. And so look forward to hearing from the Education and Outreach Committee on that. But with that, that's what's happening with our forums. I look forward to the Education and Outreach Committee sharing their ideas for how to make our forums more effective, and any feedback you have for us. Thank you.
Thank you, April. This is Commissioner Profazza. I thought it was an excellent listening forum. I really appreciated the input of our consumers with disabilities who spoke so clearly and eloquently and passionately about their experiences and wanting businesses to be accessible to them. And they really stressed the importance of restaurants, especially as a place where they can have comfort and satisfaction, and a lot of passion in their comments, which I so appreciated. And I thought our state architect did an outstanding job addressing all of the questions, I declare. And we were so pleased to have Erica Wood as our Chamber of Commerce representative. She really did an excellent job. So thank you for pulling that panel together. They were excellent.
And and last but not least, I want to thank our moderator, which is Commissioner Dr. Profazza. You were an amazing moderator, and thank you for facilitating that discussion.
No, it was my pleasure. So moving on, any comments or questions from our commissioners or our committee members on this topic? Okay.
There appears to be no other indication in the chat.
And this just, Hector, I was just waiting. I was holding back. I wanted to not be the first one, but I definitely actually do like that particular focus, industry-wide focus. And I know like Sacramento, for those of us that don't live there, Sacramento is a travel kind of touristy quasi thing. Sorry, I got the flu when I was there and I'm still recovering. I had fun. It was great. It was worth it. And the people were fantastic. But like, for example, in Sacramento, definitely the restaurants and the hotels, that's something that they're constantly working to make sure that they're accessible to the people visiting the capital. I know that having this presentation from the state capitol is a really good way to kind of show the rest of our localities, what our state capitol is doing. I've gone to the state capitol many times with my disability siblings and struggle and being there when they can't get through the door, when there's no showers that are accessible, when the stairs don't work, and even our Capitol building, that is infamously famous for having some areas that were very challenging and still are very challenging to folks with disabilities. So definitely from a travel perspective, how it could be, how it is, and how it could perhaps be better, more accessible for those of us that are traveling there and to visit. But then most definitely for the people that live there, because there are people that live there. I think on Thursdays or Fridays, half of the population goes back out of the capital, and but there's still people that live there, and definitely making it accessible. But I think that's a really great approach to further accentuate the work of this listening sessions. But that particular listening session was very interesting, particularly that one challenge with the door. And I remember the night before our listening session, I went around because I was thinking about that, and I thought I knew the front section had the button, and I didn't realize that particular challenge with the back door. When the front is not, you come in through the back, because that's where all the parking in is. And then just thinking a lot of those kind of extra nuances that many of us are not aware of it unless they really become a barrier. And that particular conversation was actually really, it allowed me the opportunity that there's still more that needs to be done, and how the people that are directly impacted by it know more about it than anybody else, because they experience it. But then having that dialogue and that responsiveness and the resolution that came out of it, that was also a really great learning opportunity. So that was the benefit that I had with her as well.
Thank you. Any other comments from our commissioners or committee members? If not, on to our public members, either virtually or in person.
There appears to be no indication in the chat.
Okay, thank you. So now we're moving on to social media outreach. So I'll pass it on to April Dawson Rawlings for a discussion on this topic. Take it away, April.
Thank you, Chair Commissioner Dr. Prafazza. This is April. I just want to give a little bit of an update on some of the highlights for our Facebook and YouTube channels. We did repost disaster resources for the Southern California fires. During the live part of the most active part of that disaster, we were not able to post on social media because the state wanted to make sure that those of us that had social media channels were kind of stopping for a second so the governor and others could get the word out. But we did take that time to collect disaster resources, which we put on our website when we weren't able to post live on Facebook. And then after the disaster, we put together some resources and put them on our Facebook. We have over 200 followers after a year of the pilot that we started a little over a year ago. And so we have over 200 followers on Facebook. And for those of you, please go to our YouTube channel, and please know that all of our meeting recordings from August 2021 to the present are now uploaded on the CCDA YouTube channel. And all of those are accessible with captioning. And we also spotlight interpreters for the ASL for those live recordings. And I also wanted to talk a little bit about our video project. So a couple of meetings ago, I shared that we were partnering with the Office of Public Affairs at DGS to create a series of 10 initial videos that would be utilized to just kind of give like a fun Disability Access 101. We're calling it, Accessibility Mythbusters. And it's kind of like the premise of at least one of the episodes. It's like a fake news show. And at our last, so we actually, I won't give too much away, but Commissioner Lillibridge was one of the actors in our news show, and we filmed our first episode. It was very fancy. It felt like we were on a real set, and right now that's in post-production. So I will let everyone know when that first video will be released, but we'll be releasing some teasers and some things. And so each episode will feature a different myth that people might have about access. It might be something like, access is too expensive, or, it'll be a myth and then we'll bust it. And looking forward to doing that. And so how we have it scheduled is that as soon as we finish one video, it goes into post-production, and then we work on the second video. And so we kind of have to do it in a row. We can't really do it simultaneously. So that's why there's a little bit of a gap, but we're hoping to get to a place where we can release videos at least every other month. So I'll let everyone know how that's going, and we'll let you know when that first video drops. And also at our last full commission meeting, there was a conversation about how to more fully utilize our high frequency litigant funds, which are funds that we receive from court fees that are generated when high frequency litigants have to file a fee in court to file their complaints. And we get 50% of those dollars. And so the commission was very clear that there was a consensus that they would like to make sure that we utilize those funds toward further videos or further, production, creative projects that would help curb high frequency litigation, and help people to be educated about, make sure businesses know what to do when they get a demand letter, things like that. So we're looking into how we can make even more videos happen. We're lucky that because we're nested within the Office of Public Affairs, we're able to do most of those one-on-one videos for free, at no cost to any taxpayer dollars. But we also are able to contract out if there's content or something is sort of beyond the scope of what the Office of Public Affairs could do. So there's a potential to utilize those funds for that. So, or they could be used for things related to the videos, like props and things like that, to make it more believable. So, so we are doing a lot, getting our word out, building our partnerships, and I look forward to just continuing that, and look forward to all of you giving us advice on the Education Outreach Committee about how we can improve our outreach and make sure we're reaching out to everyone we should be reaching out to. And that is my report. So I will send it back to Commissioner Dr. Profazza.
Thank you, April. So are there any comments or questions from our committee members and commissioners on this topic?
There appears to be no indication.
Thank you. Any comments from our public virtually or in person?
There appears to be no indication.
Okay, so we'll move on to agenda topic number 9, future agenda items. Does anyone have any ideas or thoughts about items that we can discuss at our next meeting, which is scheduled on Wednesday, July 23rd at a location to be announced? First, from our committee members and commissioners on future agenda topics.
There appears to be no indication.
And then from our public, either virtually or in person, on this topic of future agenda items.
There appears to be no indication virtually or in person.
Okay. Well, that seems to be the end of our agenda topics. If we're ready, can we move to adjourn? Can I request a motion to adjourn this meeting?
This is Commissioner Ramirez. Oh, sorry, was somebody going to make? If somebody else makes a motion, If not, I'll make the.
After you, Commissioner. I apologize for my alarm going off too.
Oh, so sorry. I'll move to end today's session.
Thank you. Commissioner Ramirez in a second.
This is Commissioner Conway. I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Conway. Presley, can you do the roll, please, on this topic?
Yes, thank you. I will start the roll. Commissioner Dr. Profasa,
Aye.
Commissioner Leon Vasquez,
Aye.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Aye.
Commissioner Conway,
Aye.
Committee Member Hassan,
Aye.
Committee Member Lerner,
Aye.
Committee Member Simon, Committee Member Davis.
Aye.
Okay, and with that, Chair Commissioner Dr. Profasa, all CCDA commissioners and committee member votes have been noted. The motion carries, and I will pass it back to you.
Thank you all for your participation. Thank you, CCDA team and staff, for an excellent meeting. We appreciate it very much. See you all next time.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
Bye.